Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar presentation, Ms. Catherine and Ms. Patricia. I was using that video to buy time for others to join us, but as I said, we will not be taking too much time waiting for others. We're just going to go straight into today's presentation, and then the rest of them will join us whenever they happen to come online. So I'll be sharing my screen with you. And I'll be sharing on that screen the slide for tonight's webinar presentation. Please confirm if you can see my screen by typing in the chat box that yes, I can see your screen. If you can see my screen, my slide, just indicate by letting me know by typing yes, I can see your screen. Great. Thank you very much for that feedback. So tonight I will be talking on this very topic, which is Skyway, the transport our planet needs. I hope you can hear me very well. I have a generator turned on in the background because we're having some power issues. I just hope that my audio is loud and clear. Please, if my audio is loud and clear, let me know in the chat box by typing loud and clear. I'm waiting for that feedback. Kindly just let me know in the chat section by typing loud and clear. Great. Thank you very much. So we'll proceed. I'd like to start by telling you this. It's common knowledge that if you want to make money, you should solve problems. So they say if you want to make a lot of money, you have to solve big problems. And there's this statement that goes something like, if you solve a person's problem, you get a person's reward. If you solve a community's problem, you get a community's reward. If you solve a nation's problem, you get a nation's reward. And if you solve a global problem, you get a global reward. With this premise in mind, I would like to let you know that our modern transportation is actually killing our planet. And I will be highlighting the reasons why modern transportation is destroying the planet. The first and most important reason is climate change. You see, climate change is occasioned by greenhouse gases that go up into the atmosphere and deplete the ozone layer, thereby leading to the temperature of the sun, or the ultraviolet rays of the sun, to hit the earth at a much higher intensity than it would have happened if there was no, than it would have been if the ozone layer was left intact. Now, the depletion of greenhouse gases is caused by carbon monoxide, mostly, which is the waste from our automobiles and from our industry that go up into the atmosphere and deplete this ozone layer. Now, if the greenhouse gases continue to hit the atmosphere by about 1.5 degrees Celsius every year, in 12 years' time, we'll be facing a climate crisis. Our coastlines will be inundated. That's to say, where we used to have the demarcations between land and sea will no longer hold. There will be flooding. The sea levels will rise, and it will flood the coastal areas. Why is this happening? Let me explain in as simple terms as I can. You see, we have the North Pole and we have all these areas on Earth that are so cold, and then the bodies of ice have come together and formed these massive structures of ice. We have places like Antarctica, and all these areas are large bodies of ice. Now, what happens when the sun continues to hit and melt the ice in those polar regions? Some of those ice bodies will break off from the ice shelf. And when they break off, they float into the ocean. And then they float to warmer regions, or places where the temperature is a bit warmer. And then they melt into the ocean body, leading to the level of the water in the sea to increase. Now, when I say this ice break off and float into the ocean, I'm not talking about an ice that's as big as a house, for example. I'm talking about an ice body that might even be as large as a state or a country, breaking off and floating into the sea, melting and then making the sea level rise. And when the sea level rise, it leads to flooding, and then it inundates the coastline. So all of these are problems occasioned by global warming. So when they say in the news that there is a flood and then they trace it to global warming, this is how it happens. Now, up to 30% of greenhouse gas in the United States and Europe are caused by automobile emission. That's the CO2, the carbon waste that comes from automobile vehicles. And that accounts for over 4,600 kilograms of carbon waste emitted by one car per year. That's one problem. Another problem is disappearing nature. Disappearing nature. When God made the earth, God did not create roads. Roads are not made by God. Roads are made by man. The earth was made land and water. And the land is fixed. Excuse me. The land is not elastic. There is no time where you say that there is a population, or let's say there's overpopulation in a particular country, and then they say, okay, in order to make the population have more space, they want to stretch the land. They want to stretch it like an elastic rubber band. It is not possible. The land is fixed. And because the land is fixed, this is a fixed resource. Therefore, the land has to be optimally utilized in such a way that we can meet the need for agricultural, like the need for feeding the population by agricultural activities performed on land. We also have to meet the need for building houses for shelter. We also have to meet the need for constructing roads for movement from one point to another. And we do all this on land. But constructing road the way we do currently by using asphalt, concrete in order to create roads on land, we are making that piece of land useless for agricultural and housing purposes. When you construct a road, you can no longer plant on that piece of land. Neither can you build a house because you have made a concrete jungle. In other words, you have made it impossible for that land to be used for housing or for agriculture. Like you can see on my slide, you can see the asphalt cutting through the field. You can see that on that very piece of space where they have poured this asphalt, nature, nothing green can thrive there. And this is a big problem because the amount of land, the amount of fertile land, millions of hectares of fertile land that could have been used to plant or perform agricultural purposes or plant forests that produce oxygen are being destroyed. Even places where you used to have a stream or a river, they are being destroyed in order for roads to be made. And this accounts for millions and millions of hectares of fertile land. Up to 200,000 kilometers square of soil is under asphalt. This is a problem because we can no longer cultivate on that soil. And when population increases, they will make more roads in order to accommodate the needs of the population. But what will happen to agriculture? How will you feed the population? You are creating roads, but the same land is needed for agriculture. So how do you balance how much land should you use for agriculture and how much should you use for housing and how much should you use for construction of road? You see, nature is disappearing because it is being buried under asphalt. And this is another big problem of modern transportation. A third problem of modern transportation is the death occasioned by the killing of humans and animals. I'm hearing a disturbance. I would like for participants to kindly mute themselves and to stay muted till it's time for questions. If perhaps your audio is unmuted, kindly check and make sure that you mute it. All right, so let's proceed. Before I continue, I want to quickly welcome Mr. Atobatele, Engineer Kabiru. I have someone here named Sefiat and another person with Infinix Smart HD as your the name on my screen. So I'd like to welcome you all to tonight's webinar. Now, as I was saying, one of the other problems of modern transportation is that millions of animals are dying under the wheels of cars every year. And it's not just animals, it's people too. People get killed and some of them end up, hospitalized or having one form of disability due to accidents that occur on the road. Because the same piece of land that is catering to the need of transportation is still catering to the need of human movement. And then there are occasions where the vehicles run into human beings and death occur. Now, this is another problem of modern transportation. Another problem of modern transportation is the dense traffic that's as a result of a whole lot of vehicles being made to run on very limited space or very limited land constructed for the purpose of transportation. The roads that are constructed cannot cater to the needs of the numbers of cars that are using those roads. I think many of us can relate to this. If you live in a place like Lagos or even in Benin, the time they call rush hour is the time you are not going anywhere. They call it rush hour because everybody wants to move to do something. Either they are going to the office or going to schools or, at a point where there's a very peak demand for transportation. At that time, the traffic is so dense that you can be in a spot and in 30 minutes, you have not moved. In 1 hour, you have not moved. The whole world is looking for a solution to these problems. The traffic problem, the problem of disappearing nature, the problem of environmental, the problem of automobile emission leading to climate change, and so on. The whole world is looking for a solution. And of all the solutions that they have brought so far, we have people introducing electric vehicles. We have Tesla doing a wonderful job in this segment. We have people introducing exhaust filters in vehicles. We have improvements in the standard of fuel. For example, they started using biofuel. They started using these plants they call jatropha to manufacture biofuel in order to improve the quality of fuel and reduce the emission coming from the engine of fuel or diesel-powered vehicles. We equally have them introducing greenery spaces. Greenhouses are being constructed where plants are being cultured in order to replace the amount of disappearing forest. Because these plants produce oxygen, these plants purify our atmosphere, and we need them in order to survive. So all of these are solutions that the world have tried to bring to solve some of all these problems. Mind you, we are talking about a global problem. And anybody who can solve this global problem will get a global reward. The whole world is ready to pay for a solution to all these problems. Skyway elevated string transport technology provides the best solution. What we have done with Skyway elevated string transport technology is that we have moved transportation to the second level. By that, I mean the first level is land, on the ground. The second level is above the ground, on elevated string rails. And the third level is on air. So we have air transportation and we have land transportation. What Skyway has done is they have taken the middle of that air and land and constructed elevated above the ground string rails. And they have not just constructed string rails, they've also made vehicles that will run on those string rails. The vehicles are of two types, the ones that run above the rail and the ones that run below the rail. And these vehicles are powered by electric engine and they produce zero emission. These vehicles are fast. The unit flash can reach speeds of 500 kilometers per hour. That is the distance a plane, a Boeing 737 will cover in an hour. Our unit flash will cover that same distance in an hour and 10 minutes. Just a 10-minute difference. Moving at speeds of 500 kilometers safely. Safe accelerations to speeds of up to 500 kilometers per hour. This is what we have created. And then again, our transportation is cheap, environmental friendly with zero emission. Our transportation is equally safe. You are not going to have any traffic collision or airplane crash from a Skyway unipod. It's not going to happen. Our transport is automated. We don't have people driving these pods. These pods are programmed from one destination to another and automatically controlled by the autopilot. So the chances for human error have been completely eliminated in this technology. We've created transportation at its finest, at its best. And this transportation saves nature on Earth. It does not take up space on the ground. So to construct it, we don't have to destroy the forest. It can coexist perfectly and in perfect symmetry and synergy with nature. As you can see on my screen right here on this slide, you can see that we've constructed a rail here on a place where there's a forest and the forest is left intact. You cannot do this if you were constructing a road. Now, if we had a football field, we can construct Skyway and the football field remains intact. But you cannot construct a road on a football field and the football field will remain intact. It's not possible. And when we've done what we've done, will mean that many countries can actually adopt our technology, and then the land that they have been using for the construction of roads can be freed up for reuse, for building, and for agriculture. Don't you think that this is something that many countries will buy into? I think that this is something many countries will buy into, and we're already seeing it. Many countries have already requested for Skyway elevated string transport technology to be constructed in their home countries. Furthermore, we keep the animal world safe. Because our vehicles are above the ground, we have no chances of collision with animals or human beings. We're not going to kill people by using our transport system to cause road accidents. It doesn't happen with Skyway. How is it going to happen? Who is going to climb on top of the elevated string rail and wait for a Skyway vehicle to knock him or her down? Which animal will do that? You're not going to find an antelope on top of the elevated Skyway string transport rail that will be killed by the vehicle moving on its track. So we are keeping the animal world safe. Furthermore, our vehicles have a technology that makes them detect an obstacle and respond accordingly. It means that if there were ever an obstruction on the track, the vehicle will see the obstruction and slow down in order to avoid collision with that obstacle. So we have made technology for transportation at its very best and at its very finest. Now, how does Skyway work? Now, this part is for engineers, and I'm going to go in detail as much as I can, even though I'm not an engineer, to make you understand exactly how Skyway works. All right. Now, there are three aspects of the Skyway elevated string transport. The first aspect is the string rail. You see, what we've done with our string rail is that we have made it very durable. And in order to achieve that durability, we use additional reinforced and tensioned strings. What we actually do is that we pre-stress the materials. In order for them to be durable up to 100 years of use, they are pre-stressed and reinforced with tension string in a bundle of stretched steel cables. That's what makes up our string rail. Now, this technology, the string rail, is patented by Skyway elevated string transport technology, by the Unitsky string transport technology. We have already patented this. It means that nobody elsewhere can make use of this idea without paying for the franchise from Unitsky string technologies. Another aspect of our technology is the electric engine. And ladies and gentlemen, I want you to pay attention to this electric engine because this is one of the best electric motors that have been created. Our engine can run on any environmentally friendly fuel, from natural gas to methane and even hydrogen. Let me explain what that means. If they want to tell you 2 molecules of hydrogen and 1 molecule of oxygen, that's H2O, makes water. But the major factor of the water is hydrogen. Hydrogen is just water. So what I'm telling you is that our engine is powered by methane, water, and even natural gas. Let me ask a question quickly. I want you to think about it. If you make a car today and you say the fuel of your vehicle that you have made is water, that means when somebody buys your car or a model of your vehicle, they no longer need to stop in any fuel station to refuel. All they need to do is just take water, pour in their vehicle, and they are moving. Do you think that vehicle will sell? Think about it. If you've made a vehicle that can run on water, who will compete with your market? Even if you want to sell that vehicle for a very high amount of money, people will still buy it because they know that the savings that they will make from the reduction in the cost of fueling will be enough to make up the difference that they will be spending in purchasing that vehicle. A vehicle with an engine that runs on water. This is what we have. Who can compete with it? Even the ones that run on electricity, the required energy for operation is way less than every other electric vehicle manufacturing company out there. So we have made an electric engine like has never been seen before. And we have also patented this technology, which means nobody can use it without buying a franchise from us. Furthermore, we have made our vehicle models to have such a streamlined body. Like you can see the Uniflash pictured in this slide. The body is so streamlined such that it can accelerate safely up to speeds of 500 kilometers per hour. And while accelerating, it is also using very little fuel consumption. It uses like 10 times less fuel than any other model or any other electric vehicle model, reaching the same speed as the Skyway elevated string Uniflash that reaches speeds of 500 kilometers per hour. So these are all elements or aspects of our technology and our design. Now, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this is no longer an idea. This is no longer in the ideation phase. This thing is already being implemented, successfully implemented. This transport technology has safely transported over 6,000 people. And I'll be showing you that in a little while. All right, another aspect of our technology is the flyover. It is located above the ground, and it can be built in any terrain, from mountain chains to desert and even jungle. Places where you could not construct a road before now, we can construct Skyway there. Places where you could not construct, transportation could not reach mountainous areas, we can construct Skyway there. Located above the ground, it can be constructed in any terrain. So we can reach areas that were previously unreached by modern transportation. Ladies and gentlemen, independent experts have said that the transport market, the potential of Skyway elevated string transport technology can dominate over 50% of the global transport market. They have said it, and we are already seeing it happen. How we are seeing it happen is that the United Arab Emirates already wants to use our technology to automate 25% of their entire public transport network. And that's a big deal for any investor in Skyway. It means that we'll be making money from 1/4 of the United Arab Emirates transport market. I'll be showing you more details on that at the end of this presentation. Now, many of you would like to ask, this transport technology, where have they constructed it? Where has it been built? Is it already in existence? Is anywhere in the world already using this particular transport technology? Ladies and gentlemen, the answer is yes. We've constructed, for the purpose of testing and certification, we built a 36-hectare Skyway string transport technology testing center in Belarus in Europe. And in that facility, we have constructed 5 types of elevated string tracks, 8 types of transport models have been tested, and over 6,000 people have visited that site and become passengers in these very vehicle modules. So we are not just saying that we have created something that might work. We have created it, we have tested it, we've seen that it works, and we've gotten certificates and patents for our vehicle models and our technology. We've gotten approval from the necessary bodies. Testing and certification have been done, and this technology has been declared safe for use. The last model of our vehicle that's currently being tested in the United Arab Emirates is the cargo container model, which is meant for the transportation of cargo. Once we receive the certification for that, we go into full-scale commercial implementation, and all the projects by all the countries that have been requesting for Skyway will now be attended to, and then this project begins to make profits, and the investors begin to get paid their dividends. Another place where we have constructed our technology is the Skyway Test Center in the Emirate of Sharjah. This is the Sharjah Research and Technology Innovation Park located in Sharjah in the United Arab Emirates. And in October 2019, that was when we started the first test session of the Skyway Test Center in the Emirates of Sharjah. And today, ladies and gentlemen, that facility is already operational. And we've tested vehicle models like the Unibus, the Unibike, and currently we are testing the Unicont, which is for the transportation of containers. Our project the project of Skyway in Dubai is heavily invested into by the Dubai government. In April 2019, the Emir of Dubai approved a package of projects. I want you to pay attention to this. They approved a package of projects which was proposed by the Ministry of Transport of the country, and it includes a Skyway 15-kilometer urban transport system. This project, I just want to go into a little bit more details on this project. This very project is part of what the Dubai government wants to achieve with what they call a Dubai Autonomous Transport Strategy. Those of you with your phones, you can Google this, or you can write it down and Google it later. Dubai Autonomous Transport Strategy. That is a policy of the Dubai government to automate 25% of their entire public transport network before the year 2030. And they have contracted this project to Unitsky String Technologies, which is Skyway Elevated String Transport Technology. The company that you are about to buy their pre-IPO shares, or the one that some of you who already started investing have already bought the pre-IPO shares and become a co-owner of it, means that you own a company that's about to be responsible for the 25% of the movement of people in the United Arab Emirates. And all of that profit will be coming to you. From the number of shares you own, you will get dividends from this company. Now, this is where you and I come in. The development of Skyway is due to crowdfunding. You see, when Unitsky, and actually Unitsky, the general designer of the Unitsky String Transport Technology, came out with the idea of Skyway, in 1977, he received a grant from the United Nations to develop the technology. After a time, this grant got exhausted, and he received another grant with which he continued the development up until 2014. And ladies and gentlemen, in 2014, something happened which will change the course of, I don't know about you, but something happened which will change the course of my life forever. And that is, they allow the technology to be crowdfunded. Now, it means that anyone and everyone can invest in Skyway transport technology and get a share in this international environmental project. And we have attracted investors from over 210 countries. And we have investment packages from as little as $50. You can get shares in this company. Amazing. Normally, if a company wants to sell its pre-IPO shares, they seek out high net worth individuals, people who can come in with a big investment. But due to crowdfunding, we, the little guys at the bottom of the food chain, can actually afford to invest in Skyway. Even with our little $50, $100, we can buy shares in this company. So this is where it becomes life-changing, that we can actually have the opportunity to co-own this multinational transportation company. This is just amazing. Another amazing aspect of this idea of crowdfunding is that we do not owe anybody anything. Skyway is not indebted to any bank or any government or any nation. We've developed all the points up till now due to crowdfunding from investors like you and I coming in with their little amounts of money, investing in this technology. That is what you are seeing today. Every single track that has been built, every single vehicle model that has been created, every single test session that have been done, the engineers that have been paid, the string transport that has been developed is due to our money. This is where you and I come in. And in exchange for providing capital for the development of Skyway, they are giving us allotment units or shares in their company, pre-IPO equity shares. These shares are highly discounted. So discounted, in fact, that you can get 18 shares for $1, and that is the package with the very least discount. What I'm telling you is that I've just gotten a warning that my meeting will be ending in the next 10 minutes due to the limitations of the basic version of the Zoom application. So if this meeting ends, I'm going to restart the meeting with the link, and I want you to join up. Okay. Someone is already dropping a question in the chat section. Please, I will attend to every question at the end of the meeting. If this meeting ends and I no longer see your question, please just copy your question so that when I restart the meeting, you can send the question in the chat section. I'll try to hurry up so that we can end before the next 10 minutes. Now, the investment in Skyway gives you the right to receive dividends from every successfully implemented Skyway project anywhere in the world. Skyway builds a project in Dubai, you will earn profits from it. They build in Russia, you earn profits from it. They build in Australia, in Vietnam, in Abu Dhabi, in Mongolia, in South Africa, you will earn profit from every successfully implemented Skyway project. Also, your investment can save tens of millions of animals from death on the road. Let's say you are a very big boy, you don't need the money you'll be getting from Skyway. But you can still invest in Skyway as a way of saving the animals. By creating this technology, you are preventing animals from death that would have been a result of road traffic accidents. Also, you are preserving hundreds of squares of kilometers of forest, fields, and reservoirs around the world, which would have been destroyed for the construction of roads. So investing in Skyway is a charitable thing to do. In fact, investing in Skyway, you are saving the planet, which is why we say build Skyway, save the planet. So Skyway is more or less like you are rendering a service, you are doing humanity a kindness. You are rendering an act of service to humanity by investing in Skyway. So why wouldn't you invest in Skyway? But anyway, the bad news is that the financing of Skyway is coming to an end. You see, when we started the pre-IPO in 2000, when we started the crowdfunding in 2014, there were highlighted 15 stages of development of this project, of which the 15th stage is the stage where Skyway will reach self-sufficiency. What that means is that the money that Skyway will be generating will be enough for it to no longer need investors to provide capital for its development. It will be able to sustain its own development because of the profits that it will be generating by performing its commercial operation. So we are currently in stage 14 of the 15 stages of development. What does that tell us and what does that tell you or tell me? It means that the opportunity to own these shares is coming to an end. When we get to stage 15, you can no longer come in as an investor in the pre-IPO stage to receive dividends from every successfully implemented Skyway project in anywhere or any part of the world. But you can only invest after stage 15. You can only invest in targeted projects. That's to say, maybe Skyway wants to build a track from Lagos to Benin and you invest in that particular project. You receive profits from only that project. Whereas somebody who invested before the end of stage 15 will be receiving profits from any project anywhere in the world. You will only receive profits in the project that you invested in if you invest after stage 15. So this is why you should invest now before the opportunity goes, because they say the opportunity of a lifetime should be seized within the lifetime of the opportunity. The Skyway project is the safe future of the planet, and investing in Skyway is an option to bring it closer. How is an investment transaction legally formalized? An investment transaction is formalized through what we call the convertible loan agreement. You have two options. You sign the agreement, it gives you the ability to receive shares from this particular project in your ownership. And if you do not wish to sign the requirements, the convertible loan agreement, it means you are providing your money as a loan, of which Skyway will use this money to develop, and in 3 years' time, they will give you back the money alongside with a 4% profit on your investment. So it's a win-win. If you invest as a co-owner, you are getting shares, of which from your shares you get dividends, and you also have the opportunity to sell them when the company goes public and is listed in the stock exchange. If you don't sign the requirements, you still get 4% profit. So why not? Put your money in this project, ladies and gentlemen, because it's a win-win from where I'm standing. Now, we have several investment offers. For the sake of time, I will not touch them. I will just tell you that we have investment packages for every budget. No matter how much you have, there is a package for you in Skyway. Whether you are a student, you are living on allowances, or whether you are a worker, you are in NYSC, you are only receiving minimum wage, you can afford to invest in Skyway. I'm saying this because I started investing in Skyway at a point where I was earning, let me not even mention what I was earning, but it was so little, but I could still afford to invest in Skyway. Another thing is that we have installment plan. You can come in and you can take an installment and pay over a period of 5 months. So you stagger the payment according to your capacity. To invest in Skyway, first thing you need to do, get back to the person who invited you for this meeting, request for their link, and then register. Once you've registered, you confirm that you are actually an entity, a legal entity. That's to say, you are a legal occupant of the country that you say you are from. You provide your document proving that you are actually a legal entity. You can then invest in Skyway by looking through their investment option, funding your wallet, and picking a suitable investment plan and purchasing shares in it. And then you get a certificate proving your ownership of those shares. It's a wise thing to invest today because as the project moves to a new stage of development, the discount reduces. So if you invest in stage 14, the number of shares you will get for a particular amount of money will be more than someone who invests in stage 15 because by then the discount would have gone down. The closer they get to IPO, the less and less the discount will be on those shares that you are buying. For example, somebody who bought shares in 2014, $1,000 would have gotten in 1 million shares. Today, that same $1,000 will only get you 33,000 shares. So you can see that the discount is reducing as we are getting closer and closer to the market. What that means is that the value of those shares are becoming more and more valuable, or those shares are becoming more and more valuable. We have just 2 minutes left for this meeting before it's brought to a close by the automatic timer set by this application. So when the meeting comes to an end, I will restart it. And I want you to just rejoin using the same link. There's a story here, ladies and gentlemen, and there's a lesson in this story. This is the story of ex-Anambra State Governor Peter Obi. He's a high net worth investor or a high net worth individual. So in 2015, when he had gone for a program in the United States, some guys came to him and they told him about Zoom communication, which had just started. And they told him about their pre-IPO and told him he should invest in it. As at that time, he would have been getting the shares for 30 cents per share. Please look at the news clipping by your left. He would have been getting those shares for 30 cents per share. I hope you can see my mouse. 30 cents per share, which means $1,000 would have gotten him 3,333 Zoom shares. Just 5 years later, ladies and gentlemen, or let's say 6 years later, one share in Zoom is trading in the stock exchange market for $327.22 US per share. And that's the time that I checked, 17th of March, 2021. By now, the price has gone up. Check the price of Zoom shares. They should be around $330 per share or even more. Now, a $1,000 investment in Zoom as at the time Peter Obi had the opportunity in 2015 would have gotten him 3,333 Zoom shares. Today, the value of 3,333 Zoom shares at the price of $327.22 US per share would be $1,090,624.26. That is a return of investment of over 1,000%. You cannot buy real estate that will give you this amount of return on investment. Which business will you do that will give you this amount of return on investment within a 5-year period? There's nothing that can give you this. It's only pre-IPO investing that can give you this. So ladies and gentlemen, we are selling the pre-IPO equity shares of Skyway Elevated String Transport Technology for 3 cents per share, $1,000, which would have gotten Peter Obi 3,333 Zoom shares. The same $1,000 will get you 33,000 Skyway shares. And by the time we go public, you don't know how much a share will be. You don't want to wait to find out. So it's best you buy those shares now and have it before it will be too late. This meeting is coming to a close. Once it ends, I will restart the meeting and I want you all to join. And that's where we'll be attending to questions and answers. So we have come to the end of this presentation, and it is now going to be time for our question and answer.